Hey, what's going on?
Hey guys, how we
How you
doing?
doing? I saw,
Good, good,
I
good.
saw, I saw you were representing the shirt already.
I am. I got
Woo!
a nice shirt, my favorite shirt. Obviously, when I bought it, I thought of Tom Brady too, the GOAT, but
Ah,
the guy has left us. So,
what?
came down to Florida here with us. So,
That's right. So at least you can go see him play more often now.
that's true. That's true. So, all right, guys. Well, I wanted to kind of start introducing what I'm doing a little bit, and then introducing you guys as well, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So just so people are aware, what I've been doing is, I have a big following on Instagram, and I thought of ways that I could help my local community, and the best way that I thought was to do these live videos with local business owners like yourselves, where I give an opportunity for local businesses to not only tell the community a little bit what they do, but also how they're adapting to the current situation that we're living. Right, so it's an opportunity for companies to come in, to businesses to come in and tell us about their products, about their services, and then how they're still kind of catering to their customers at this difficult time that we're in. So I appreciate that you guys have agreed to come on. I'm really thrilled. Obviously, this is a product that I use it myself. I enjoy it myself. You guys know that because I'm always representing, always doing my
Woo!
coffee and all that. So really thrilled to have you guys. And I would just ask if you guys could go on and kind of introduce yourselves a little bit and a little bit of the company as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Felipe. So first and foremost, just want to thank you for what you're doing. Obviously, leveraging your audience and promoting small businesses and giving us this opportunity to share what we do with your platform is very well appreciated. And you've always shown us amazing support on social, even before we got the opportunity to meet you personally. So we really appreciate that.
No worries.
So my name is Albert.
I'm Brian.
And so we're Grumpy Goat.
We're missing one person.
We're missing one person. Yes. Randy's couldn't join us today. But so there's three of us. We usually are walking around in the markets and in the community. I'll let Brian tell a little bit about the coffee, the story, and how we got started, and we can kind of just bounce these between each other.
Sure.
Yeah. So thanks again, Felipe. I really appreciate it. What we tell everybody is really kind of how we started Grumpy Goat Coffee. I moved down here to Southwest Florida, Bonita Springs, specifically from the Minneapolis-St. Paul area back in 2013. Being in the technology space, being a traveling consultant, you kind of live on coffee. Minneapolis-St. Paul actually has a really cool coffee scene, so I used to go to a few local roasters up there and get single origin beans. When I moved down here, there was really no good coffee in the area. Again, that was 2013, shortly after the financial crisis. So a lot of your local coffee shops, things like that, have already shuttered. And I just wanted to bring really good coffee to the area, but I didn't want to run a coffee shop. So I simply kind of asked myself, how do I do that? And I looked back at a business I really liked up in St. Paul called J&S Beanery. And I realized I wanted to be a roaster. So I wanted to do the roasting. I got together with Albert and Randy. Their expertise is really in the social media, digital marketing, website, things like that. So our thoughts are 1 + 1 + 1 actually equals 5, not just we all have redundant skill sets. So we decided we want to roast coffee, bring good coffee to the area. I came up with the name Grumpy Goat, really based on how coffee was discovered. Coffee was discovered by an Ethiopian goat herder and his goats. As the story goes, these goats came across these bushes with red berries, and they were all night dancing and singing. We thought, well, what were the goats when they ran out of red berries? And what are people in the morning when they don't have their coffee? So we wanted to kind of have more of a fun spin on the coffee. We have a lot of fun with the branding, but we do take the coffee very, very seriously. So the coffee that we roast is single origin, gourmet grade, fully traceable coffee. So fully traceable means we know when it was harvested, where it was harvested, any of the certifications that come with it, whether it be fair trade, FTO, which is fair trade organic, USDA certified organic, different types of rainforest alliances. shade grown, things like that. So any of the documentation that is tied to that coffee, we get that, so we know everything that there is to know about the coffee. Gourmet grade means it's 86 points or higher. That's not us scoring it or grading it. That's actually the professional cuppers in country grading and cupping and scoring, and then when it hits stateside, it gets graded, cupped, and scored again. So everything we buy is 86 points or higher. It's all high, by definition, high altitude Arabica. Right now we have coffee from, I think, around 14
different origins,
different countries.
Yep. But by the way, Felipe, I also wanted to share that if it looks like we are in an empty, abandoned warehouse, it's because we are. So we wanted to take this opportunity and share with not only your followers, but also the Grumpy Goat family and anyone else that may be watching. This is our new space. So we're still under construction. So there's still holes and dirts in the ground. It's right off of Bonita Beach Road and Old 41. So we're setting up here. We're moving forward with everything, and this is going to be a local roastery. So it's not going to be your traditional coffee shop, right? It's going to be a place where we'll actually roast, produce, ship the coffee. Obviously, this community has been very well to us and very good to us. So we want to make this a fun place for the community to come and experience, learn. So we're going to do fun events here. Again, not a traditional coffee shop, more of a roastery. But we are planting roots right here in Southwest Florida and Bonita Springs.
That's awesome. Well, and thank you for sharing the news here too.
Yeah,
I
we'll
honored,
do a little tour of the outside of the building so people can get the landmark and stuff of where we're at. But we're excited. It's been a long, about a year in the making.
Yeah.
About a year in the making. But we're moving forward with everything, and we hope to be open as many small businesses do here shortly. So.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, it will be nice to have a place to call home, right? Obviously, you go to all the places, but to have your own little place will be certainly something special, right? So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
We'll be happy to invite you in.
That's right. Maybe the next live stream you'll be here.
I'll be live from there. That'll be great. No mask, no anything, right? Maybe my beard will have grown again, right? But
that's right. That's right.
What I wanted to ask you guys, so obviously, I share the website and you ship a lot of the coffee. You also are in local farmers markets, and there's particular, I know particular stores that you sell the coffee to. If you could just elaborate on that, where people can buy the coffee, do you ship to the whole U.S., just how people can get the product?
Yeah. Definitely. So you can definitely follow us on Instagram, right? Grumpy Goat Coffee, Facebook. We're definitely online, and through those channels, we promote where we're going to be. We do a lot of collaborations with local businesses. We've done a lot of collaborations with breweries, as you know. So coffee and beer are one of our passions, right? So we spend a lot of time there. And through our website. So if you go on our website, it's grumpygoat.com. We do free shipping on 2 pounds or more anywhere in the U.S. And we roast everything fresh. So when you place your order, your beans are actually being roasted or within a day of being roasted and will be shipped to you. So anywhere in the U.S., free shipping on 2 pounds or more. We have all of our origins there. You can select the roast type, whether it's dark roast or medium roast, and you can select it to be whole bean or ground.
Okay, awesome.
And as far as local,
yeah, so we're still currently doing the Vanderbilt Airport Bowling Farmers Market. Honestly, we're taking it week by week. So when a lot of our customers actually have shifted to online, even our local customers, but when in doubt, again, just jump on to Facebook or Instagram. Reach out to us. One of us will get back to you right away as to where we're going to be. We are doing some small little pop-ups for coffee, picking up coffee to go at Momentum Brew House, Oil Well Brewing out there in Ave Maria, Fort Myers Brewing up in Fort Myers. So, we have those things going on as well. Again, we don't always have definitive dates, so just when in doubt, just poke us.
Do you see the beer theme again, kind of coming up?
Yeah.
Brewery, Momentum Brewery, Fort Myers Brewery.
I've been to a couple breweries myself, and I always seem to find
somebody
you guys
has to
there
do it. Why not
somehow.
us, right?
It's tough work. It is really tough work. But we're happy to do it.
And I'm sure you exchange a coffee for beer with those guys too, right? So
if you open up a brewery, maybe you'll find out.
So I wanted to get back a little bit to the coffee again. So I've tried out of the 14, I think 3 or 4 different origins already. I have my favorite, which happens to be the Brazilian, because I find it to be not too strong, but obviously not too weak either. So for me, it works out well. But I wanted to see if you could elaborate a little bit more on when people are looking for coffee. I've seen you presented when you're in the farmers market. What people should be looking for, and if you could kind of talk about that here too. If you like a little bit stronger, you should be looking from this standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a very common question. So we can definitely start with the Brazilian. It's funny you bring that up. It's a very, very popular coffee. It's popular for a couple of reasons. So the Brazilian, Brazilian coffee genetically has lower acidity. Now, when I talk about acidity, I'm not talking about acidity on the palate. I'm talking about the true acidity on the GI tract. So that's why you find it to be kind of a softer coffee, even as a medium and a dark roast. It's still a soft coffee, very soft on the GI, low acidity. So it's a very popular coffee. When you're looking for big, bold cups of coffee, people always think dark roast is always going to be bold. That's not always the case. We do have like our Colombian medium roast, our Kenyan medium, even our Burundi medium. A lot of the African coffees and some of the Central and South American, as a medium roast, actually have a lot of body, a lot of flavor, whereas you can get some of the Indonesian coffees as a medium roast. They're very, very soft. Alternatively, you can have a dark roast that's going to be a very soft cup. Like the Brazilian dark roast is going to be kind of softer, quite frankly, from a mouthfeel than I would say the Kenyan medium or a Burundi medium. But people like to kind of follow what they know. So we always start them with the countries they're familiar with, your Central South American. So we almost always have Guatemalan, Peruvian, Colombian, Brazilian on stock. So we always say our Colombian's probably one of our more bold cups of coffee as a dark roast. Even as a medium roast, it's got a lot of body, nice nutty cup of coffee. And then you come back down to the Peruvian. The Peruvian is going to be a little bit softer, a little bit smoother on the palate than the Colombian. Then you get into your Costa Rican and Guatemalan. Those do kind of share some similarities depending on where in Guatemala you're getting the coffee from. Guatemala actually has very distinct regions. So right now, the Guatemala we have is out of the Huahuatenango region. So it does carry some characteristics to the Costa Rican, where you'll have some of that brightness on the front of the palate. And then as the dark roast will be a little more of the chocolatey type cup, drier chocolatey. And then as we get back down into Brazilian coffee, while South American doesn't carry the big boldness that the Colombian would, or even the Peruvian would, for that matter. As you go over into Africa, the African coffees, Ethiopian coffee actually is an incredibly unique cup of coffee. Our medium roast typically will carry more of the floral notes. So there's people that actually like the kind of the floral fruitiness of coffee. And it's not floral fruity like a cup of tea, but you will notice kind of like the dry blueberry type notes with the floral. That's going to be your Ethiopian coffees. As you take the Ethiopian to a dark roast, it actually creates a very rich, creamy cup of coffee, real chocolatey. It's what we use at Momentum for our goat. So that's our beer collaboration we do with them. We're actually going to be kicking off another pretty large batch in the next week or so. So stay tuned for that if you've ever had a nice coffee, local coffee stout. So that's why the Ethiopian works really well with their stout, is it adds to that chocolatiness, kind of that creaminess, and then gives those undertones of coffee.
I see we have a follower there. It says that the Santos' coffee is delicious.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
That's actually my mom. She's I got her hooked on the coffee. And every time she's here, she wants that coffee. So
got to get the family hooked.
That's right.
I know. Well, that was actually a question I was gonna have for you guys. Obviously we have a lot of people that come here from other states, and they're here temporarily. They don't live here like we do, and then they go back to their hometowns. Do you ship a lot of back to the Northeast, to the Midwest, to those people that want the coffee, because I, quite frankly, I kind of got hooked on it. Right, once I have it, it's kind of hard to have something else. So I was wondering if that's true with other people too, and you end up shipping to other places.
Yeah, yeah, I'm shipping. I'm shipping every day. Especially now with everybody being on lockdown, I'm shipping every day. We ship USPS flat rate, so when we ship out, it will pretty much be anywhere in the country inside of 3 days. So we've had it shipped up to Alaska, and it was there in 3 days. Hawaii, 3 days. Parts of California and some of the bigger cities, it's there in 2 days. A lot of times here locally, they'll get it. I can't guarantee overnight, but depending on what postal station it gets brought to, if it stays within the area, it's usually an 1 day or overnight shipping. Yeah. So we're constantly getting it out there. So again, no matter where you live, where you're at within the U.S., don't be afraid to order online. You get the same treatment online as you would if you saw me at the farmer's market.
Yeah, definitely. I think to your point on how our business has adjusted. Right, so we definitely are fortunate that we can still have our doors open, and the support from our local community as well as all of our customers all over the country has been amazing during this time. So friends and family are sharing, and our online sales have definitely had an uptick due to the business from the stay-at-home orders that have been implemented. So we've been fortunate from that perspective, right? We love interacting with our customers, so that's why we do the markets. We really love to have that experience with them, both from an educational perspective and then also from a just seeing the look in their eyes when they try the coffee and they say, "Well, that's really good," or the laughs that they give us when they say, "How'd you come up with the name?" Or right. So that's part of what the process that we enjoy. But because Southwest Florida is such a transient market, people do come, they fall in love with the brand, they fall in love with the coffee, and then they go back to Ohio, Michigan, Boston, you name it, and they'll go and have to order. So it's been a transition for us for sure, as far as where the bulk of our activities coming, but we've adjusted and put the proper procedures in place to make sure that we're still running efficiently to get the orders out online.
That's awesome. I want to ask about the little goat that you see at the farmer's market too, but I'm going to leave that for the next question. I wanted to ask you, so obviously when we say, you look, and I have one here with me, it says locally roasted, right? It says locally roasted in Bonita Springs. So I have the coffee too. I still have some. So it says locally roasted here. So obviously you're getting the beans, like you said, you source them from different places. And then what is the process once it gets to you? What if you can kind of walk through what is the process of roasting, and is there different ways of roasting? What do you do to ensure that you're getting the best coffee?
Absolutely, that's a really good question. So I'll start with the way we roast. There are different types of roasting methods, and we'll really talk more about what we do. We use a drum roaster. It is a gas-fired drum roaster. So when you think of a drum roaster, stick your head in your dryer. You've got the baffles and the drum. There's a heat source underneath. Pretty much the same concept. So what we do in the roasting process it's called charging the roaster. And so we charge the roaster depending on the origin, but we'll charge it somewhere around 410 to 415 degrees. During the roasting process, several things happen. And you always want to keep in mind the roasting process is really about sight, sound, and smell. So as you start the roasting process, the beans will go through a drying phase. So the green beans actually have somewhere between 18 to 20% moisture content. So for the first 3.5 minutes, you're going to go through a drying phase. The beans will go from kind of a nice pale green look to more of a yellow, almost like the color of a straw, of dried straw. It actually will smell like that as well. That's the smell part. There's a sight glass in the roaster, and one of these days we'll actually do a live stream of the whole roasting process.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Just kind of use your mind's eye here. Yeah. So within the sight glass, you can watch the bean go through the various stages. So after the drying stage, you go into the caramelization stage. So what's happening at that stage is really all of the starches within the bean being caramelized. As you continue to keep roasting, the bean will actually, and during that time, it's an endothermic reaction. The bean's absorbing all the heat. As it gets up to around 390, 395 degrees, you have what's called your first crack. So your first crack is an exothermic reaction. That's when the beans are releasing all the heat. So think of like when you're popping popcorn and you're heating up all the corn kernels, and all of a sudden they pop. That crack, that's a pop. The exact same thing's happening with the coffee. That's the moisture being released. Obviously, it won't really flour out like a piece of popcorn, but it does crack and split open. As you keep roasting, you will continue to caramelize. So a few minutes after the first crack, that's really what we will call our medium roast. That's where you pick up on the lighter notes and the lighter flavors of the coffee. And again, that's going to be relative to the origin. As you keep roasting, you keep caramelizing. So you will actually caramelize your way out of some of those lighter notes, and then you will start to pick up on some of the heavier notes. The heavier notes might be the chocolates, the toffee, the cherry, the tobacco, again, origin specific. So as you keep roasting, if you roast long enough, you will actually get to a second crack. That second crack, again, is yet another exothermic reaction. It's the bean cracking again. The entire roast process takes anywhere from 12 to 14 minutes, again, depending on moisture content, bean origin, and things like that. And we roast very small batch. That's actually what allows us to have such a wide variety of coffee. It's no added work for me to roast a Tanzanian, a Kenyan, and Ethiopian for an online order than it would be to roast 6 pounds of the same thing. So that's what gives us a lot of the flexibility is we use a small roaster and we simply roast to order.
So yeah, so I was gonna say, so they're almost made to order, essentially, right? As you need them, you roast them.
Yeah. So our big thing is obviously the quality of the bean, right? As Brian mentioned, all of our coffee scores at 86 points or higher by professional coffee cuppers. There you go. And then we roast it fresh. So when you're getting our coffee, it's within a few days of being roasted. So the combination of high quality beans and the freshness that we roast and get it to your door, that is our secret. Please don't tell anybody. But it really is. And people that experience freshly roasted coffee can immediately taste the difference, right? So if you have really the coffee and you can taste that it's not bitter, or it doesn't have that bite, you can really start to pick up on that. Also with the different origins, I wanted to mention that as well, is it really does give each origin, it has its unique flavors, and that's part of the fun of having single origin coffee. We don't do any blending, so you don't know what's in what. You know the country on the label is where it's from. And really, people start somewhere, right? You landed right on Brazilian. I think you were a little biased, but right. But you felt, hey, this is what I like. I like that it's light. I like that it has flavor, but right. And with those notes, we can guide people to the origin that we think would be a good fit. And sometimes they vary. Like Brian will tell you, I'm all over the map, right? Because I'll try something like a Peruvian, and I'll be stuck on that for a few months, and I absolutely love it. And just when I think, hey, this is my favorite, I'll say, Brian, let me try that Ethiopian. And I go, oh, man, I really missed this.
Yeah.
So then I'll go on an Ethiopian kick, and then the Brazilian. So I'm just kind of all over the place. But it is nice because you can pick up on those distinguishing flavor profiles by the origin.
Yeah, my personal preference is simply the mood I'm in. I'm pretty fortunate to kind of have an array in front of me all the time. So I kind of bounce around. Usually in the mornings, I'll jump into like a Peruvian dark roast, Ethiopian dark roast. It's not always about the caffeine that gets you going. It's about the aroma. It's about the experience. It's about grinding the beans. So for me in the mornings, I want that bigger, bolder, kind of grab me and shake me and wake me up type of cup of coffee. As I go into the afternoon after lunch, I usually will go into like a Brazilian medium roast, Honduran medium roast, even an Ethiopian medium roast. They're just easier drinking cups of coffee. I'm not looking for that big flavor. I'm just now at that point, I'm looking for just a nice pick-me-up, something different. And then in the evenings, I will usually go back to kind of more of that richer, chocolatey cup of coffee, something to kind of wind down with. So I'm all over the board as well, but I go based on food more so than origin specific.
Yeah, so I mean, I tried, obviously the Brazilian was the first one I tried. I tried a couple other ones too. I went with the Ethiopian dark roast. and then I also went with a Colombia medium roast as well. And I what I found was that the Ethiopian to me was a little bit too dark. And you mentioned something before that kind of caught my attention. You said it's somewhere a little bit easier on the GI tract, and I felt the Ethiopian dark didn't quite go down as much as the Brazilian does for me. So that's right on. I had a question for both of you. I mean, if I were to pour a little bit of coffee from different countries without you knowing where they're from, would you be able to pick it up on the taste of it at this point?
Yeah. So some countries have a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
Other countries are all over the board, right? So I don't want to say yes, we'd be 100% at it, but yes, I can definitely distinguish, for example, a South American from an Indonesian coffee, and then some of the African coffees for sure. When you have neighboring countries or neighboring regions, like for example, the Colombian and the Peruvian are pretty similar. I mean, you can definitely pick up on the distinctions, but it'd be a little tougher than a Peruvian and an Ethiopian, for example.
Yeah.
For me personally, right?
Maybe
everybody has people can pick it up.
Yeah, I get better. I kind of go in waves like Albert. There's times where I'm just, I'm too busy doing everything else in the coffee business to kind of sit down and keep training myself. But yeah, I can definitely tell you, I can give you a pretty close range. I mean, obviously, if it's, I can tell you, without a doubt, it's an Ethiopian versus a Kenyan. But as you get into the Costa Rican, Guatemalan, again, sometimes the lots are very similar, different origin, but very similar cupping profile. So I'm not good enough to always kind of get down to that fine granularity.
So one thing we do at the markets quite a bit, and you go there, we shake the beans up, right? We give it the good old smell test, right? And people would be surprised at how different some of the origins actually smell. You think that from a general perspective, I love the smell of coffee, but when you smell them side by side, you can really start to pick up on the notes. And obviously, if you really like the smell, you probably will really like the taste. So sometimes we start there for folks, and it's amazing how different you can pick up on the smells from the different origins for sure.
Awesome.
When somebody doesn't know, then we'll walk them through the different origins, because again, we want it to be an experience for them as well. We'll be honest in that if somebody says, "Well, I don't really like that," we don't take offense to that, right? We're roasting that origins of coffee. Some people love it, some people might not like it. It's a lot like wine. It's like tasting wine, And then we always try to surprise people by taking them down a path they weren't expecting. So, a lot of people say, well, I don't drink a dark roast. And we'll actually bring to the farmer's market a sample of, let's say, a Peruvian dark roast or a Brazilian dark roast. And they say, oh my God, I love dark roast. I've never had a dark roast. They were scared of dark roast. So, really, it's about the experience and walking people through that. And when they're willing to be adventurous, we'll always try to push them down and maybe take them somewhere exotic like a Sulawesi, a Tanzania. I've got my eye on some Thai coffee right now, so that'll be fun when I can get that in. So we're always looking to bring new origins in as well. So if anybody ever has any recommendations, by all means, shoot us a note at info@grumpygoat.com. If we can get it, we'll definitely look at getting it. If we can't, I'll be honest with you and say, hey, those things aren't scoring that well this year. Because again, people forget coffee is an agricultural product. It does change every season, so there might be certain regions that they didn't have a great season, so their coffee's not scoring that high, so therefore we just can't get it in.
It's very much like wine, right? I mean, wine it's similar with grapes, right? It's the same thing. So
yeah, absolutely. And on our website, again, grumpygoat.com, when we have the origins, we have the flavor notes associated with that. So even if you're just browsing and not sure what you'd like, you can read on the different origins, and hopefully that'll make your decision a little easier. But if you have any questions, as Brian said, just reach out to us and we can help guide you through the process, even if it's virtually.
Perfect, awesome. The other question I had is, so if you have been to one of the farmers market, you've seen you guys with the little goat there. Whose goat is that?
So we one of the benefits of starting a coffee company called Grumpy Goat is we start creating friends and developing friendships with people that have goat farms. and there's actually several here kind of in our backyard in Bonita, Estero, Naples. So that little goat that you see at the Vanderbilt Farmers Market, that's a farm out in Golden Gate, Naples Golden Gate area. They raise goats. They're pet goats. So I always kind of forget what kind it is, but it's basically like a silky short hair with the miniature dwarf, like fainting goats.
Yeah.
So they're always having baby goats. Albert is shameless in using my face on all sorts of social media posts with me with the goats. So that is that farm. But again, it's great because we've got some friends with some other farms that they're wanting us to come out and do some photo shoots with the goats as well.
Awesome. No, that's
I won't hesitate to leverage Brian and goats in a post, so you can see.
I've seen
the Easter one.
I've seen the Easter one. Yeah, the Easter one.
The things I do.
The Valentine's one. There's a few.
That's what makes you valuable.
That's right.
What about the Thanksgiving one? Right, I went out. Did you guys saw Thanksgiving? I was holding the turkey.
Yeah.
I was afraid it was going to crack my eyes out. But again, anything for you guys in social media.
Awesome. So I wanted to just touch it again on where people can get it. So obviously we're locally in some of the farmers market. You said to keep an eye on Facebook and also on Instagram. Grumpy Goat, both of them, right? Grumpy Goat Coffee, and both of them, and you're normally posting. Obviously on your website too, grumpygoat.com. People can buy there. I wanted to. I think you had mentioned that you wanted to kind of do a giveaway too. So I don't know if you want to tell people what you're willing to do for them here.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, one last mention. Is our newsletter as well, right? So that's another way to get connected. That we give people an opportunity. Some people are not necessarily on social media all the time, but they still want to get the information of where we're going to be. So if you go to our website, there's a way there that you can sign up for our newsletter, and we'll keep you up to date with where we're going to be.
So regarding the giveaway, so what we're going to do is for the first 5 orders that come in the comment box when you place the order, just type in the real Felipe or Felipe or something. Let us know that you saw us through this live stream, and we're going to put in a 6-ounce bag of coffee. It's going to be roaster's choice. That's me. I get to pick. I will pick. If you ask for it to be ground, I'll make sure it's ground or whatever. Or if you want to make something specific in that note box, whatever, that's fine. But I'm going to pick the coffee that goes with your order, and either I will pick something that will kind of complement what you've ordered, or if I feel like I just want to expose you to something new, I'm going to put that in there. Again, it's up to me. So I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with that.
That's awesome.
Again, it's going to be a 6-ounce bag of coffee when you place an online order, and just put somewhere in the comments or the notes the real Felipe, the guy that loves Brazilian coffee.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, just it's so I know that it's you that you ordered through this or you saw us through this, and we'll get that roasted and taken care of.
Awesome. That's great, guys. I appreciate it, and I'm sure people appreciate it as well. So that's really cool. Well, I wanted to thank you guys once again for joining me today. I think this is great. I actually learned a lot today, and hopefully people learn a lot as well. And thanks for sharing the news with me too, right? About the new place. That's I feel
I'll give you a quick tour outside too before we go.
So that'll be great.
See the outside. We'll just walk you through here. So as I mentioned, it's on Old 41, just south of Bonita Beach Road. We always tell the people to keep an eye out for the colorful awnings, right? So if you look at the space, very industrial looking. We're right across the street from the dog track there, right off of Old 41. So we plan to have some fun here, invite the community to share the experience with the coffee with us. And, again, we planted roots right here in Bonita Springs, so we're not going anywhere. We're here. We're committed to provide good coffee to the area. So.
Yes, thank you so much for having us. And if there's any other live streams you want to do deep dive into certain origins, or once we get set up and kind of go through the roasting process, again, we're more than happy to do that with you.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, I definitely want to. I'm definitely going to be there often, so we'll definitely do one there. And I think the roasting process would be cool too, because I don't think a lot of people like myself are too familiar with. So that would be really interesting to do that as well.
Well, we'll turn you into an expert in no time.
Perfect. Awesome, guys. Well, thanks
That's
again.
Right.
Appreciate your time.
Appreciate it, and thank you so much again. Thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you. Take care, guys.